we're starting off strong with tonight's life's everyday battles in the segment where we break down adulting headaches that hit us all. We're covering everything from PSAs on mother room etiquette, which I guess you'll get to cover. I throw some thoughts into that. Surviving toxic jobs. What to do if you're 18 when you got no birth certificate and stuff in your hands. We're gonna have to discuss how this happens, kind of thing. There's a lot to unpack in that. So anyway, we're gonna cut that. We've got all that. We got a handful of that stuff lined up. I've got no special clips this week. I did get a couple, but it turns out I'm not ready with them. So,
okay. Well, we'll look forward to them then.
Next couple of weeks. Well, because I put some aside, but I didn't make any notes to myself what I was thinking at the time, and so I can't remember why I was wanted with.
I hate when I do that.
You find these things late at night, and that'll make a good segment, and it's just I can't remember what I was thinking, and which segment I was going to stick it into, and because they kind of fit one or the other, and anyway. I just need to take some time to do some pre-show work, and I didn't have time this week. All right, so let's start off. We're going to jump right in and maybe find some solutions to some problems this evening.
Okay, yes. Let's dive right in. Public service announcement. Mother's rooms are for lactating persons only. It is not a place to go eat your lunch or make a call or do any of that other stuff. It's for mothers expressing milk.
Well, what about mothers who need to feed their children, their baby, and they just happen to bottle feed? Isn't it just a quiet place for mothers and the young babies to get away from the noise and chaos of everything around them so they can have their quiet moment? Whether it's to feed or just to calm down, get them unstimulated. Isn't that the point of the mother's room? Not just a lactation thing.
In the shopping mall, yes.
I mean, I just think that was the point of it.
But I don't see anyone in a workplace, if a mother asks, I need a quiet place to feed my child, it's going to say, no, you can't use the mother's room. Come on.
Well, no, but
they will.
In a workplace, but this wasn't specifically stated as a workplace. And I've seen mother's rooms at like the state fair and that kind of thing. And my assumption always was, being an ignorant, old dude now, so we didn't have these things back when I was raising kids. No mother's rooms when we were raising babies. These things didn't exist. I don't know. So my assumption is that they are for when mothers and their child need a quiet few minutes.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever that quiet few minutes is. That's what they existed for, and I always respected that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So was I incorrect in that assumption?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Well, sweet. Then I guessed correctly.
You were correct.
I guessed it did correctly. There we go. That's good. Because there was a guess. I suppose taking the safest path is a thing on that. But yes, it's not for lunch. It's not a place to eat lunch. And just because you're a mom, you don't get to go eat your lunch there. That you get the break room like everybody else.
Yeah.
But in terms of, we've talked about what it is. It's a place for a mother and her child to have that quiet moment for whatever it needs. Okay. What is next?
How do you survive a toxic job?
You find a different one?
Different job. Yeah.
Is really the only way. Now, assuming for some reason another job for some reason another job isn't an option, at least not immediately, due to it's the only job that's going to pay this well, it's the only job in the area, especially if you're in a small town. Sometimes it can be hard to find another one. So there's lots of reasons why it may not be immediately. A different job may not be an immediate solution. So how do you get through it? You treat it for exactly what it is. You just don't bring the job home with you. Sometimes it's difficult, but you leave work problems at the door of work. When you walk in, they put the problems on. When you walk out, you'll leave them at the door.
Yeah.
It's the only way to do it. Make sure you have a robust life outside of that. And especially if that job is, pays well and it's paying for all these extracurricular things you can do, then you can convince yourself that it's worth it. At least for a while. You're not going to be able to do it for long. You'll be able to do it for a
But you
little.
can keep it helps while you're looking for another job. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't take on the responsibility of, nothing's your responsibility. You're literally there just doing a job and nothing more, nothing less. It pays your bills and, allows you for a lifestyle that or it feeds your children. And so you're able to put up with it, depending upon circumstances. But you put up with a lot of things. It's the one thing about being humans, we put up with a lot of things.
Yes, we can.
If the motivation is correct. So think of your motivation, focus on your motivation, whatever that short or medium term motivation is, focus on that. And then your long-term motivation is to put yourself in a position where you don't need this particular job. You've got another one, or you become self-sustaining on your own, you start your own business, whatever your solution is, remote work. There's other ways, but you focus on getting there long-term. That's the way you get through it. Okay.
Sick of coworkers complaining. It never ends.
Yeah.
All morning, all afternoon.
It's because it's how they cope with what they are viewing as a toxic work environment. So they're coping by not keeping it in. Your only real solution to this is to not pay attention. You literally just learn to not listen.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, but
that's going to take a little bit of work.
Yes, but once you learn how to not listen, it's a very powerful tool. Because then his problems are not yours anymore because you don't even hear him anymore. It's just the same complaints. It's literally the same complaints every day. I'll guarantee it. So what do you need to hear it for? Right? You don't need to listen to it. You know what it is. Then you're no longer encumbered by it. So just, in a sense, get yourself to a point where you're no longer encumbered by his problems. You're allowing yourself to be encumbered by his problems because he thinks out loud or whatever it is. One of those people who just expresses his thoughts and they just come out. Right? It happens.
Yeah. Got to be one of those.
And feel bad for him, right? He's living in a life full of negativity.
You know who I feel bad for?
What's that?
His wife.
Well, hopefully he's leaving all these problems at the door, like we talked about earlier. He's not bringing it home. Maybe that's why he's doing it, so he doesn't have to bring it home. Who knows? May not even be a conscious choice, right? He's expressing, getting all this out, so when he leaves work, he has no need to get it out because he's left it all over the place. He's not bringing it home, so he's leaving it around with all you. So maybe he's found the solution to, the toxic job problem. So now the problem is that's making, your job toxic. And so how do you deal with it is to not pay attention to it. Don't make his problems yours. It's sometimes, it can be hard, right? It can be hard to not listen to other people's problems, to not listen to the chatter that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great skill once you learn it. Yeah, that was loud.
That was a tummy drop.
Yeah, so I wonder if that came across on the microphone. That was
probably.
I have to go listen. In case it didn't, my stomach made a weird sound. It wasn't like a grumble. It was something. And yeah.
Let's see if the mic picks it up.
We'll have to see if the mic picked it up.
Yeah.
Okay, what is next?
Okay, this poor lost little lamb. Oh my gosh. No birth certificate, state ID, nor social security card. He's 18. his parents were, the doomsdayers,
Uh-huh.
And just really just didn't do him a good turn.
Okay, well, luckily for him, these things can be gotten.
Yes.
It's going to take some time. Right?
Yes.
You're going to have to start at bureaucracy square zero, which really, really sucks.
He already wrote to the state where he was born.
Yeah.
Asking, can you help me find my birth certificate?
Yeah, hopefully your parents can give you some clues on where to start. What hospital you were born at, who is the midwife, whatever it is.
Doctor.
Yeah, because maybe if they're really far into the dooms prepper, maybe they had a midwife or something rather than a hospital, and so there may be some records. If you were born, you've got a social security number. You just don't have the physical card. So tracking that down, you can actually contact the Social Security Department, explain your situation. They have heard it before.
Yes, they have.
Right? It's going to be a pain in the butt, but it's okay. These things will just take some time. And for the meantime, you're just going to have to work for cash under the table. Yes, people do.
Well, he has someone who wants to hire him.
And this is the problem, right?
And it's a problem, so he's working on it.
So that just make sure you hammer it as many times as during the day as you can until you solve the problem. There's no quick solution. He's already got the thing started, right? He's written in emails and he's contacted the state. Hopefully he's gotten his parents to give him as much information as they can. They don't have the documents, but they can request them. There's things that can happen that just need to happen. It's going to take a few weeks to get that birth certificate. And once you have the birth certificate, the rest will come relatively.
It'll just fall into place.
Yeah, because then
that's the good place to start right there.
Yeah, and you can and start the process of the other things, right? Because maybe the birth certificate's not going to be as easy to get, and so you need to contact the state for the state ID. Just ask them what the process is. Okay, what happens if I don't have that? What happens if X, Y, and Z? What do you do? Just ask each person, what do you do under the circumstances? And start at bureaucratic square zero, and something will fall into place. And when one thing falls into place, then the rest fall easier. And so hit it from all three angles.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you took the right start on trying to get the birth certificate. That's the proper place to start. But don't it's not do the other ones. Do the other ones as well. Get those processes started. Because even if you can't complete them, at least you've got them started. You will feel like you've accomplished something. You know what to do when the other things come into place, whatever it is. And maybe somebody knows something that can get you to square three. Maybe you can skip square two. Who knows? But hit all of those is my suggestion. Contact your local DMV or whatever it is that does your state ID. Contact the Social Security Department and ask, what do you do in this circumstance? And it's all you can do.
You're not the first.
No, you're not the first. They've got things for this, and it may be difficult. And, you may have to get some, government official to sign some paperwork that says you exist. But you may have to go to a judge and say, Judge, I exist. Can I? And the judge says, yes, you exist. You may have to go to that, right? You may have to find some lawyer who's going to help you, but there's lawyers who are out there who'll do it for pro bono or very cheap. These things can happen. You just have to make sure you don't give up.
Don't give up.
If you hit a couple roadblocks, don't give up because you can get
you'll get past this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not being thanked for covering for my boss during maternity leave.
Well, it's because it was your job.
That's what they paid you for.
Yeah. Now, is it kind of personally rude? Sure. But, your boss has plenty of other things on her mind. Give her a bit of grace would be my.
Give her some time.
Yeah. Don't become a problem over it. How's them,
she probably hasn't even sent out the thank you cards for, her baby shower. So don't worry about it.
Yeah,
you're on a long list, dude. She'll get to you.
And even if not, it doesn't matter. That was your job. you don't necessarily, but the thanks for your job is your paycheck. And if you expect any more than that, it's nice to have, but it's not what you go to work for. You don't go to work for the thanks. You go to work for the paycheck.
Yeah.
And if it happens to be rewarding, more the better. But
that's just icing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What is next?
Is it unprofessional for a PM to constantly speak for a project manager to constantly speak another language at work?
Well, it depends. Is it unprofessional? Probably not, because they're speaking to someone in a language that is, during some specific details that they can probably get across better to each other in their native language.
Yeah.
So they use their native language. So there's no language barrier issues. Is it uncomfortable for people who in the rest of the office because you don't really know? Sure, but you know what you can do? You can learn to speak that language. Because the question is it unprofessional? It's yes and no.
Nobody's talking about you.
Well,
it's about work.
Well, maybe they are talking about you, but so what? If it's not your conversation, it doesn't matter what language they're speaking in. You shouldn't be listening anyway.
It's an A-B conversation. You need to see your way out of it.
Yeah, that's, who's being more unprofessional? You listening to somebody else's personal conversations or the fact that other people are having a personal conversations in language you can't understand because that annoys you because you don't know what they're talking about. It's unprofessional if the whole team speaks in one language and the boss is talking to everybody in a different language and no one knows what the heck he's saying, right? Pick a languages. But if 90% of the team speaks one language, the boss speaks a different language, and so the boss is just speaking in his language. Well, the problem being unprofessional is your team doesn't know what the heck you're saying. But if you're just talking to another person about the job or about personal life or whatever, speaking whatever language they want. Stop listening to other people's conversations. The solution to that. If it's done, now, if you're having a 3-person conversation in one language and all of a sudden you turn to somebody and start talking in a different one, that's unprofessional. Yeah. But the assumption on this is that they're just someone's in the office talking to a coworker in a language that you don't understand, and now well, I don't know what they're saying because it's none of your business. That's why you don't know what they're saying. You're killing me over here. Mind your own business. That's the solution to that. Okay.
Entry-level job ideas for people who suck at physical jobs?
Well, this is one of those things, people who work counter retail jobs, check out, they're not really physical, but they are entry level. The problem is when you say you suck at physical jobs, what do you mean?
Digging ditches and stocking. They don't even want to do stocking.
Well, I'm sorry, Sunshine, but you gotta have to do the low end work, regardless of where it is, what you're doing. You're just trying. You don't suck at physical work. You just don't want to do it. That's a different thing. If someone said I'm naturally clumsy, I need to find something to do that I'm not going to hurt myself or somebody else. That's a conversation to have. Okay, there's certain jobs you shouldn't have if you're naturally clumsy, right? You just probably, I'm not sure what they are. You probably shouldn't be a high steel worker. Just saying, but the reality is you don't suck at physical jobs. You just don't want them. Well, that means you're going to have to make yourself valuable in some form, in some way, things that's not physical. So in the modern day and age, that means being good at a computer. Now, whether that means being good at getting ideas across on a computer, maybe you're making graphics, who knows? Maybe you're making YouTube content. Of course, those aren't entry-level jobs. Those are your own jobs you create. So the reality is you're just going to have to get over this thing that you don't want to work. Doesn't mean you can't get an easy job. You want to know what an easy job to get is get the late night shift at a 24-hour fitness place. One of those 24-hour, because those things have high turnover. They're relatively easy. You don't have to know how to use the equipment. You just have to be sitting there to let people in and out and answer what few handful of questions and wipe down and clean machines. It's what you do.
There we go.
But of course, they don't want to do physical jobs. They're not going to want to go clean the sweat off other people's sweat off of it.
Well, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to do something oogie if you just, you're not willing to really put yourself out there. Ooginess comes with every job.
Yeah. I mean, I started, at 14 washing dishes. That's a physical job. And this person's, is washing dishes a physical job? Well, yes and no. You're standing in front of a sink for 6 hours or whatever, 8 hours, however, depending upon things. And yeah, it's a bunch of hot water all the time, but you're moving a lot. Is it physical? Yes and no.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a ballerina or anything to do it, but if you're clumsy, it's probably not the greatest job for you. You don't need to be dropping plates all the time. That's a good way to get fired. Everybody breaks a thing here and now, every now and again. But I don't know. I think the person just doesn't actually want to work. They want to find out what the real question that they're looking for is: what job can I do that doesn't actually require me to do anything?
Computer.
Well, but even that is going to end up being work. And
some effort is actually required before they will give you a paycheck.
Yeah. They just don't want to do anything. Because they're saying these, I'm just saying, I think they just don't want to do anything. They're one of these young people who has been brought up in a world that they don't know how good they have it.
They got a lot of growth. Do not have children right now.
Now, remember, 100 years ago, we couldn't take a hot shower. Go stand under a hot shower and realize that 100 years ago, people couldn't do that. Well, you could, but you'd have to heat the water, have someone sit there. And at best, kings could take a warm shower, at best. And now we all take it for granted.
Every time I go to make a gratitude list, and I can't think of anything, and you know what my go-to is? Running water. I can go in the kitchen and turn on a hot or a cold running, clean, healthy water.
Hey, when you look at the history of the world and the history of death, it was sanitation.
Uh-huh.
It was when we discovered sanitation that we kind of saved ourselves. So,
yeah, talk about a physical job.
Yeah. So I don't know. Change your attitude would be my suggestion, regardless of whatever entry-level job you get. My thing is change your attitude. One, have a little more confidence in yourself. Even a non-physical job isn't going to want to hire you if you don't have confidence in yourself. So have a little confidence in yourself. It's one thing to say, I shouldn't work around food. I don't want to work around food. I don't want to work in a kitchen. Perfectly responsible. Something specific is personally reasonable. I don't want to do anything physical is you're just being unreasonable. Especially if you're starting out, you're just going to have to do what someone's going to hire you for. And the thing is, you'll get good at it as you do it.
That's good advice.
I have, part of me wants to tell them to suck it up, Buttercup, and get you in.
But that way, well, you said that, but you also gave them gentler.
But on the other hand, I feel your pain.
Yeah.
You know, it's a perfectly normal human thing to want to go through, especially in the modern world where we have raised our, I hate to use the word soft, we have raised our children soft. And it's not quite the correct word, but everybody knows what I mean. And this is a side, this is a consequence of that. Anyway, that was our dive into life's gritty side. If any of these hit home, please remember you're not alone. Have please remember, if you can, if you need to, you can find us at latenightLove.us. You can send us your questions, comments, suggestions to love@latenightLove.us. And one of these days we'll start answering comments. I swear to God.
We really will.
It will happen.
So close.
We're just bad
awful.
at it. We're
awful.
We're bad at it. We're bad at it. All right. That's it from me and Lubby. Have a good night. And please remember to love everybody.
Good night.